Welcome to The Planet's local outbreak on 100.1. The Planet, New Hampshire's modern rock. Matt Connerton from IPMNation.com back with you this week in the RageRockRadio.com studio with a hammer next to me working the board. And I'm sitting here with a gentleman who I've had the pleasure of interviewing actually a few times.
How you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Tim Koukos. How are you, Tim?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Did you like that introduction?
That was pissa.
I called you a gentleman and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
So we have a lot to talk about because you have a lot to say, and I have a lot to ask you. But before we get
choose
to that,
my words correctly, though.
Yes, I know you will. Yeah. You promised you would.
Yeah.
But why don't we get right to some music? What do you want to play?
Oh, God.
And you have a lot to choose from, I know, because you.
I'm going to play. I decided to bring some of my own material tonight for the first time in a while.
Very good.
And I would like to play something from my last solo album, "The Snow Is Too Dumb to Melt," a tribute to Hillsbonia.
And Hillsbonia refers to Hillsborough. Is that correct?
Shh. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this song is called "When Walmart Opens."
When Walmart Opens, all right.
Which, of course, if you come see Force Driven, you'll actually see us play that song, too.
Oh, very nice. Mm-hmm. All right, so this is When Walmart Opens from Tim Koukos on The Planet 100.1.
spent billions in the last 5 years.
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet, New Hampshire's Modern Rock. Matt Connerton back with Tim Koukos. And Tim, I want to ask you about the song that we played, or actually your solo album. I'm very intrigued by the title and the content therein.
Yes. When the snow is too dumb to melt. Anyone that lives in Hillsborough, New Hampshire knows what I'm talking about with that title. Or even in that area.
Is there snow there year-round? Is that what you mean?
It might as well be.
Oh.
It just doesn't melt.
Yeah.
The first year we were up there, I could tell you it didn't snow for 3 times in the winter. There was 3 days it didn't snow. It was easier to say that than how many times it snowed. But it's I've been there now since '97. So what is that? 13 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like a transplant there. I'm not native to there, but when you can walk into the bank and the bank president says hi to you and knows who you are, man, it's small town logic.
It's a small town,
and that's kind of like what it's about. And it's kind of like me poking fun of it in a nice way.
So it's a tribute.
It's a tribute. Not totally a tribute. Totally a tribute.
And how many solo albums have you done?
3.
Okay.
That's my 3rd one.
Oh, okay.
And most people know me playing in Red Right Hand or know me from Screaming Ferret Records. Mm-hmm. My solo stuff is just stuff I used to sell at the shows. I never distributed it. I don't even think it's on Groove Junction for downloads, which is my download site. Yeah. It's just something I make in very small volumes, and I sell at the shows. Force Driven, one of the bands I'm playing in right now, you can actually go see us perform some of the stuff from the Hillsbonia tribute record. Right. It's my therapy. It's done for fun. It's done for fun.
Now, what is up with Red Right Hand? Because a lot of our listeners probably, like you said, that's where you're the most well-known is from that band.
After 15 years, we decided to take a break.
Yeah.
It's not like we're broken up. There's no official breakup.
Sure.
But we are we still talk to each other, daily. Yeah. But we just don't play.
Right.
And we don't even talk about Red Right Hand. We don't even talk about playing.
Yeah.
And it's just we're just taking a real break. So sooner or later, I'm sure we'll get back together and do something, some kind of reunion thing. Maybe we'll pop out with another record and all of a sudden come back. I do have this one unreleased record from the past, Red Right Hand, in between the first record and Plotting Your Death. There was a record that was never released called Finger Paint, and I did bring one of those songs with me tonight. And it was actually one of my favorite versions of Red Right Hand, that particular band. It was a 4-piece band back then.
We'll definitely have to play one of those later. I'm really curious to hear something from that. Yeah. But you're always busy. What are you doing right now as far as music? What are you most focused on at the
Well, I mean, the record label is still going. We just put out the new Malaya Rage record, and it's doing quite well, as a matter of fact. What I do now, other than that, is I focus more on my own playing.
Yeah.
As a therapy for myself.
Yeah.
I am playing in 3 different bands at the moment. I'm playing in...
you're one of those guys who plays in all kinds of bands at once.
But you don't, Matt. Do you? Do you now, Matt?
You're one of those guys.
Can you say that on the air? No, I can't. All right. But, I'm getting a microphone adjustment here, and the windscreen is in my nose. It's in my nose, but that's okay. But I play in Force Driven. It's kind of a stoner rock band. It's a band... That's my band that was before... It's my band that was before Red Right Hand. And we kind of got back together after 11 years, and we're having a blast.
Yeah.
In fact, we're recording our new record right now. In fact, I did bring some cuts from the recording, unmixed stuff and no vocals, but if you want to hear it, you get a taste of it. It's pretty cool stuff.
Really?
I love it. I love it. It's very different than Red Right Hand, because most people, Red Right Hand was a lot of thrash, a lot of speed metal. And
very heavy.
This is... slow groove, man. It's a lot of chunk and a lot of slow groove. So
I've heard you describe it as stoner rock.
Yeah. And then I play in this kind of contemporary, I guess you want to call it college rock, alternative band called Tuna Fish Discrepancy, and I play bass in that band.
Okay.
And that band is basically the entire Pete DiMaggio band without Pete DiMaggio until Pete DiMaggio comes back and we start playing with Pete DiMaggio again. So we're doing that. We've actually went to Boston, did a few recordings too, but there's no plans in the immediate future for any full-scale recording than that. And then I'm doing this prog rock thing with Bob Austin from Purge and Dave Ulrich who played with me in Red Right Hand for 6 years, and he plays in Candy Stripe or Death Orgy, and he's played in Distrust for years. and Ross Boyd, who is basically the main guy behind Tuna Fish Discrepancy, is guitar and keyboards. And we're doing this prog rock kind of jazz thing, and it's a lot of fun because it's directions that we don't normally go. It's all out of the box. So that's what I've been doing, is concentrating on my playing outside the box, other than the metal that everyone's known me to play.
Sure. So even without Red Right Hand, you're as busy as ever.
Yeah.
Like. Have you
which
always
blows my wife's mind?
Really?
You know?
Have you always been someone who likes to do multiple projects at once, or was there a time when you just focused on Red Right Hand?
Yeah, there was.
Really?
There was a time when I just focused on Red Right Hand. My band, even before that, Nightmare, 15 years of Nightmare.
Really?
Yeah, and that's all I did.
Yeah.
I was doing a lot of live sound and stuff like that when I was with Red Right Hand in the beginning days too. But then the label came into play shortly thereafter. But through the 80s and the early to mid 90s, I was pretty much a one band kind of guy, focused on that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, Force Driven, you mentioned, was actually before Red Right Hand, and then you recently put it back together?
Yep, past couple of years, yep.
So how long between stints in Force Driven?
11 years.
No kidding.
11 years, yep.
What made you want to put Force Driven back together after all that time?
My buddy Bob Burke, who I kept in touch with, is a good friend of mine too, who's the bass player and the other singer. I play guitar. It's a three-piece band.
Yeah.
I play guitar and sing, and Bob plays guitar and sings, and Ed from Mongrel is the drummer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I don't know, out of the blue, he just said, hey, you want to jam and do Red Right Hand stuff and see what happens? And, I said, yeah, that's cool. And we went over to Ed's house, and we gave Ed a 12-song CD, some of the old material. And I swear to God, I'd never played with Ed before, and I hadn't played these songs in 11 years. I would have been happy to jump up on stage and do that as a set and walk off. I would have felt good about it.
Sure.
It sounded that good. It just all came back. And Bob and I have this cool chemistry anyway. And Ed's fantastic drummer. He's real easy to lock into. I feel like I've been playing with Ed forever.
Did you decide that day, after that first time you guys playing together, that you're going to keep it going?
Oh, yeah.
No kidding.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're actually recording our new record right now.
Will this be your debut record?
It'll be the debut CD, because back in the day, you didn't make CDs. Right?
Right.
I mean, they were there, but they just, you were still making cassettes and vinyl, you know? Actually, the vinyl was the late 80s, early 90s. It's doing CDs it wasn't common then. It
sure.
wasn't common.
So there was Force-driven music released before on cassette?
Cassettes,
yeah. Cool. Is there a particular project that you're doing now that you're the most passionate about? I know it's kind of like asking
It's a tough one. It's a tough one, but I mean, Force Driven, I'm just thrilled about.
Right.
The reason I like Force Driven is the chemistry that's in the band. Mm-hmm. The music is me. Bob and I are the main writers, and we write almost identical. Our lyrics, our music, and everything. And the songs are about ourselves.
Yeah.
The songs are about things that happen to us or the way we feel. So it's really coming from the heart. And, stuff like Red Right Hand was a group effort. Mm-hmm. It was a total group effort. If someone didn't like something, they said it, and that was the end of that. You didn't put it in the song.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's very, very democratic.
Yeah,
Red Right Hand.
yeah. And, the prog thing is kind of like that, too. The prog thing is kind of like that with Bob Austin and stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
Because that's totally, a zillion different directions that I never went before. And Tuna Fish is a great band because I'm the bass player in that band, so it's like I don't have to think. It's awesome. I don't mean that to be an insult to another bass player.
None taken. I do know what I understand
what
you
I'm saying
mean.
is it's someone else's songs, and I'm not singing lead and all this stuff. It's like I can just sit back and groove and have a good time and laugh.
Yeah.
And that's Ross's whole thing. Ross comes and presents his songs. That's one of my favorite things about Pete DiMaggio band too. When we were doing that. Is they were all Pete's songs. And,
sure.
It was just...
Yeah, because you play bass in that band.
Right.
Yeah.
And, when he presented it to us, it was a done deal. The song was done. This is how it goes.
Right.
So you didn't have to sit there and, you had like these instant sets after, a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Because all the songs were done.
I remember you telling me, too, once that Pete had to kind of admonish you once and say, it's bass, it's not lead bass.
Yeah.
Because
in the studio?
He
made me dummy down all my tracks.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's not lead bass, Tim. And occasionally live you would say that too. But
really?
Yeah. Which, I always felt being a guitar player and bass is second instrument. that I always felt anyway, that I knew when to come forward with the bass and when to back off. Mm-hmm. But apparently I'm wrong.
Well, I'm really, we've talked a lot about Red Right Hand. I'm really curious to hear one of these tracks that's never been released before.
Yes. The track I brought with me today is actually one of my favorite songs we ever wrote. And I really enjoyed this era of the band.
Yeah.
And some people would remember this era of the band, but most people know like the last era, the Plotting Your Death era, the in-your-face thrash era of the whole thing. But this song is called Good Day to Die.
All right. Very cool. So this is Good Day to Die from Red Right Hand, heard by very few people, apparently, on Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet.
Seems like something somewhere has to
Local Outbreak on 100.1 The Planet, New Hampshire's Modern Rock. Matt Connerton from IPMNation.com back with you in the RageRockRadio.com studio with Tim Koukos. And Tim, I want to ask you about your experiences with Screaming Ferret Records and all that, because our assumption is that a lot of local musicians listen to this show because it is Local Outbreak, and you might have some good insight to share and maybe some advice for
good insight and advice. Don't do it. Don't do it. I swear to God. Do get into computers, get into something else. Just don't do it. That's my advice, and I'm not kidding.
Right.
But local music advice. There.
Well, actually,
no. I hear what you're saying. Let me. Don't stop following your dream, because the only people that make it are the ones that stand the test of time. And don't ever get discouraged, because you will get discouraged.
Right.
It's a tough road. It's not for the squeamish.
Right.
And the older you get, the harder it is, because all of a sudden you have responsibilities in your life.
Well, I always say, in this business, you got to crawl a mile just to gain an inch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And
keep in mind too, you meet the same people on your way down from the top to the bottom as you do from the bottom to the top. So be careful who you step on.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
So, how long has Screaming Ferret existed?
Screaming Ferret has been in existence since 2000.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And why did you want to start the label? What drove
Oh
you to
God, I can't even tell you the turn of events, but it was what we were starting was actually a club in northern Massachusetts, and it turned into Screaming Ferret Records.
Really?
Yeah. To make a long story short, there was us, there was Red Right Hand, Distrust, 3 or 4 other bands. One of the years we used to tour every summer.
Yeah.
And we did a week-long jaunt around the Great Lakes out to Milwaukee, to the Milwaukee Metal Fest, when it was still a big deal, the Milwaukee Metal Fest.
Sure.
And one year we went, and here we are running around with backpacks trying to promote our stuff and all that kind of shit. And then next year, oops, I just...
we'll edit it. It's not a big deal, dude. It's not a big deal.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
And then the next year we're like, if we had a booth, people would come to us. We can give this perception that we're somebody, and people would come up to see who we are instead of us going to them.
Because so much of it is about perception,
right.
Is it not? Yeah.
And we said, what a great idea.
Yeah.
So myself and Travis Horton from Distrust, I don't know if you remember Travis, was one of my original partners.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I can't believe I'm speaking his name right now, but that's besides the point.
Oh, I bet there's a good story behind that comment.
We won't go there.
Yeah, we'll...
That's another night. That's another show.
Yeah.
That's for a Rage Rock show or something.
Yeah.
Anyway. So we did. We made this fictitious record label called Screaming Ferret, and we rented 2 booths, and it took on a life of its own. People came to us. Oh yeah.
No kidding.
It took on a life of its own, more than what we bargained for, and that's how it started.
That's remarkable. I've actually you've never told me that story
no,
before.
I probably haven't, yeah.
So it actually just started as you just wanted you wanted the band to look like a bigger deal than it was.
Right,
and
exactly.
No kidding.
Yeah, exactly. And the bands we took with us, we took a few other, there was like 6 of us.
Yeah.
And we all chipped into the money for the booths and everything.
So all the bands were on this fictitious label.
Exactly.
That's really cool.
And of course, those were the first bands on the label.
Yeah.
And then within the first year, we signed Nuclear Assault.
Yeah? Wow. No kidding.
And it just took on a life of its own. Yeah.
So was Nuclear Assault the first band that you signed beyond that original 6?
Actually, well, yes and no, because part of the original, they didn't come with us, but one of our original marquee acts was Malaya Rage.
Okay.
And, we put out Unfinished Business, and they weren't one of the original bands. They got back together after that.
Okay.
But we had them as one of the marquee acts that was signed to the label. And, yeah, Nuclear Assault was the first major marquee act to get signed, and probably the best that the label has ever done was with them. The first 2 or 3 years the label was in existence.
Really?
The best. Yeah, absolutely. The music industry was a different industry then.
So after that experience of trying this out, setting up the booth and whatnot, did you immediately after that decide?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do this. Really?
It took on such a life of its own that we had to.
Yeah.
it was like it was such an opportunity that it was one of those things that if we didn't, you would be wondering for the rest of your life. What if?
Right.
What if? Now I know, and if I had the choice again, I wouldn't do it.
But on the other hand,
I'm glad I did. I'm
Yeah.
glad I did. A lot of good times. A lot of
and you
lot
don't
of
have
fun.
to wonder what if you don't
No,
have the burden
don't
of
ever
that.
have to wonder what if.
Yeah.
I have a whole different outlook on life now. I really do, and a lot of it had to do with that.
Yeah.
And my experiences with the label, and my experiences on the road, and just life experiences that go along with that. On the road, everyone wants to be on the road. Everyone wants to play on the road.
Sure.
And you know what? I'm here to tell you, at least for me, it's not one of my favorite places to be.
Really?
Yeah, after the first week, I'm all set. I'm ready to come home.
No kidding.
Oh,
yeah, you can't imagine doing
Can't
that.
I did it again.
That's all right. Don't worry about it. So you're not someone who would want to go out on a
No,
big tour.
but here's the flip side. I love it. I love going out. I love going to different cities and playing.
Sure.
But really, after 2 weeks, I'm ready to come home. I'm
yeah,
all
it's
set.
not for everybody.
I'm all set.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just getting too old. Maybe if 20 years old, I probably would have dug it.
Sure.
20 years old, I probably wouldn't have came back to Manchester. You know what I mean? But it's no. I'm more content being a local musician right now,
Yeah.
as far as music goes. Absolutely.
What are some of the other bands that you've put out on Screaming Ferret Records over the
Oh
years?
my God! 9 years, I've put out 85 records.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. God, some of the bigger title names. Well, I mean, we've worked with Foghat. We put out Foghat Live too. Mm-hmm. Jack Frost put a couple Jack Frost solo records and a couple of Seven Witches record and a DVD.
Yeah.
3 Nuclear Assault releases, 2 records, 2 CDs. I'm dating myself. 2 CDs and a DVD. 4 or 5 Malaya Rage records.
Wow.
I think. Yeah, either 4 or 5.
Yeah.
3 Red Right Hand records, Distrust, numerous smaller acts. Some of the band's names I can't even say on the radio. I caught myself.
Sure.
God, who else? Disdain from up your area. I don't know if you guys remember them.
I remember
some
Disdain,
Some of
yeah.
the original acts. Been working with Eric from Candy Striper for God knows how long. 2 records with Mongrel.
Yeah.
One that we put out on a label and one that I recorded for them,
Oh, okay.
which is just got completed like this week, by the way.
Yeah.
God, who else? I should have brought the list.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right.
I mean, you can go to the Screaming Ferret site and see the active, semi-active list, and the there's a whole alumni section too.
Sure. Well, tell me about, you mentioned the business changing.
Mm-hmm.
What is different now than was different than when you started?
It's impossible to make money.
Really?
Yeah, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
I mean, with the internet, and people don't realize how much they've actually themselves have killed the industry themselves.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as rock stars anymore. There's no such thing as super groups anymore. The ones that are and will be, and there's not going to be anything new. Someone's going to figure out how to harness it.
Right.
You're only going to make money if you're popular and you're touring. Most people give away their stuff now instead of try to sell it in CDs and stuff. CDs are a thing of the past. They're good for basically selling at your shows.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, you're just going to bring a thumb drive and get MP3s. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
as simple as that. And probably sooner than later. I mean, in the 8 years of full-blown distribution of Screaming Ferret, I've lost 4 distributors, and I'm not talking fly-by-night distributors. I mean, we were distributed by Universal, by Fontana.
Yeah.
We were distributed by Ryko, Warner Brothers.
They're drying up.
They're drying up. Ryko, a division of Warner Brothers, got bought out by a company called ADA. They're a one-stop.
Yep. 88 One Stop. I know
Well,
them.
you
Yeah.
know from
Yeah,
FYI. Yeah.
absolutely.
But Ryko.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But Ryko. And then they started saying, well, we're going to start cutting some of these releases, that we don't want. And they took Foghat out of their catalog, our Foghat record, but they kept like Red Right Hand and stuff. It's like, what?
Well, hey, at least they kept it right.
Yeah, but what are they thinking? No one's going to buy this stuff anymore. What are you talking about? They kept the most bizarre stuff.
Really?
Yeah. And all the sellers they took out of their catalog. But hey, whatever.
So, do you think we've reached that point in the industry where all the money's in touring and the physical
Yeah,
packaging,
absolutely.
the CD and everything has become more of
Absolutely.
a promotional tool?
It is.
Yeah.
It is absolutely.
Have you moved your business online?
Yes.
As far as
yes,
that?
we have. And the only place that we're still making any kind of substantial money, if you want to call it substantial, that's a loaded word, I guess.
Sure.
Is your downloads.
Yeah.
We're still selling physical CDs out of the Metro City office. Mm-hmm. Most of them are going to Europe.
And what is Metro City?
70% Metro City is is my partner, Bill Prue. Mm-hmm. They're the classic rock and prog rock division of Screaming Ferret, and Screaming Ferret is the metal and punk division.
Gotcha. Okay.
And like the new Malaya Rage record, 75% of sales are going straight to Europe.
Now, why do you think that is?
They're more into that type of music there.
Sure.
Music is more of a way of life there than it is here, in general.
You think so?
As opposed to people like everyone in this room that live music. We do.
Right.
We do.
Oh, absolutely.
We love it. We live it. And no matter how bad it gets, it'll always be a major part of our lives somehow. There, it's a major part of everyone's life. Your mom's life. You know what I mean?
Sure,
it's
sure.
People you don't think of. It's just musicians are like household names there. It's just a different world. It's very different. The heavier music from the 80s and stuff is still real popular there.
That's true. Yeah.
It just is.
Absolutely.
Whereas you turn on some of the commercial stations now out of Boston, you don't know what area you're listening to, which just boggles my freaking mind. Boggles it.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be kidding me. I won't listen to AF anymore.
Really?
There's nothing on it that holds my attention.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
Not a thing. Not a thing. Why would I want to listen to this? It just blows my mind. Who in their right mind cares about it? There's got to be someone out there.
Right.
Should I not have said that? Okay, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
I will get arrested when I leave the studio. So that's all right. That's all right. It's just like
place.
garbage. Absolute garbage. Absolute garbage. Listen to Greg Hill talk about crap in the morning. Play some music. Shut up. I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen to this crap. Who cares? Who cares? Who cares?
That's great. Oh, all right. Well, on that note, let's.
I did something wrong here, didn't I?
No.
Okay.
No, it's good. It's good.
Right.
Let's play another track from your solo album.
Okay.
What do you want to?
This is from my second solo album. This song is called Lost Spirit. This is kind of demo version type recording, but still very, very cool. Done on 8-track, reel-to-reel, 8-track half-inch
Really?
tape. Yeah, back in the day. Probably one of
kidding.
the last things I did.
Oh, cool.
On that machine. Kind of a Days of the New kind of thing, kind of an acoustic, kind of with a little bouncy boogie to it.
What's it called again?
Lost Spirit. It's very bass-line driven.
Oh, cool.
You'll dig it.
Excellent,
Yes.
excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this is Lost Spirit from Tim Koukos on Local Outbreak on the Planet 100.1.
Got no heart at any given time. Well,
Local Outbreak on the Planet 100.1, New Hampshire's modern rock. Matt Connerton back with Tim Koukos here in the RageRockRadio.com studio. Tim, tell us about the future. What are your plans for the future?
I'm writing it out.
Yeah?
Oh, hell yeah.
As far as the label or as far as...
Both.
Okay.
Going to see what happens.
Yeah.
It's really tough to make decisions right now because, I mean, I can remember setting up records and, a quick setup. It's like 3 months. You need a good 3 months to set up a record before, a release date.
And what do you mean by that for our listeners?
Oh, everything. Getting the promotion set up, getting the radio set up, getting the mailings set up, getting the magazine set up, interviews. It's a complete setup for promotion for the record.
Sure.
Because if you just throw it in the store, man, you throw it against the wall and see what sticks. What's going to stick? Nothing.
Nothing.
Right. No one's going to know it's there. No one's going to buy it.
Yeah. That's
very
true.
simple. Very simple. And some of the bigger records, you can take up to 6 months for setup. You start planning. Some of the bigger acts.
Yeah.
And I can remember doing that. With bigger setups, taking a 6 to 4 month setup, and already throwing thousands and thousands of dollars at it. And then watching the industry change before your eyes.
Yeah.
And you realize that what you've been doing for the past 3 or 4 months to set this record up is totally 100% completely irrelevant.
Yeah.
And you look and you've got 4 and in some cases 5-digit numbers thrown at this already.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, I only did that once. You know what I mean?
Did you have a specific moment, like an oh crap moment, when a specific moment when you realize, wow, everything's shifting around me?
Yeah. It was a lot of denial at first.
Yeah.
It was a lot of denial. I don't know, somewhere around literally 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
Literally. But there was a lot of denial, and everyone around me too, and not just here. My connections in Philadelphia, my connections in New York. A lot of them, you hear some of them, complaining, but a lot of them were just all in denial.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, boom, half of them were out of jobs.
Right.
Half of them were out of work and could not find work. Entire workforces were cut in half, if not complete.
Yeah.
And some of these people were at these jobs for 20 years. Where do you go? Where do you go when you're 40-something years old and the only thing you knew in your entire life was how to sell CDs and records? When it becomes totally irrelevant in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Never mind in your lifetime, it's done. There's not much sale for that anymore. It's like trying to sell Etzels or something, or horses, you know what I mean, to ride around the city. Same kind of thing. Used horse salesman,
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah.
It's about 2 or 3 years ago, probably 3 years ago now. I keep saying 2 or 3 years ago. It seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
Somewhere around 2006, 2007, I would say, I guess, And yeah, you have that feeling, and it's never coming back. So that's why, I'm riding it out, and we're doing things on a smaller level, and we're doing things more internally. We can't hire the people we used to promote records and stuff, so we do a lot of internal stuff.
Have you found ways to? Have you found that there's opportunities online where you're able to sort of, harness new outlets to promote the music or to sell it?
Yes, there's opportunities online, but there's a lot of shysters out there too.
Sure. Oh yeah, you always have to be careful.
Online, just like everything else, it turns to crap. It starts out really good, and then it turns, and it doesn't work anymore.
Right.
Then you have to reinvent yourself. You have to reinvent the damn wheel.
Yeah. Well, I've heard you say that too. You have to it's like you have to reinvent your business model every 5 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And there are opportunities. Don't get me wrong. There are opportunities online, but in the same respect, it is that whole same online opportunism, or whatever you want to call it, that killed the industry. And there's a lot of shysters out there. There's a lot of people that will take people and take younger bands that are online and just con them.
Sure.
Completely con them.
Sure.
Another microphone adjustment here.
They can't see that.
I know, but shut. Yeah, but so that's why we're writing it out, myself and Bill and a few other people, and we're watching.
Yeah.
And when we see an opportunity, we take it, because you know what? That opportunity may be stale in a couple of months.
Right.
So we'll try it, and we'll try anything new as long as it's in reason.
Right.
You know, I mean, if it's going to cost us tens of thousands of dollars and we're not sure about it, well, I don't know about that.
Right.
You know, I'm not. You know, it's just the conventional way of promoting records isn't there anymore.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, too, man. You know, I mean, the DIY thing for these bands, which is another piece of advice, isn't a bad thing.
Yeah.
If you're really into it and you want to give it 100%, don't waste your time sitting around partying. Don't waste your time getting into a relationship with a significant other, because that's only going to slow you down.
Yep.
And I say that sincerely. I don't say that to be a jerk.
I hear you, man.
You know,
I
it's
can't.
you know, if you're passionate about your music, get into your music.
Yeah. I can't keep a girlfriend for that reason.
Right.
I've been through so many relationships.
I don't even understand why
for
my
that
wife is still
reason.
with me after 17 years. I don't see her anymore. I don't understand. You know.
Really? Yeah.
We both have Blackberries. We don't even call each other. We just text each other now. But you know, things like that. Just stay true to your guns.
Yeah.
And do everything you can to do yourself the DIY thing. Hook up with the people you can. The more connections you make, the better off you're going to be. Hook up with someone that's been around for a while.
Absolutely.
Teach you the ropes.
That's good advice,
And,
actually.
absolutely.
Yeah, find
absolutely.
a mentor.
And whether you believe in it or not, it's something to lodge in the back of your mind. Because I'll tell you what, these people, they have learned from experience. If you're talking to a 40-something-year-old and you're 20 years old, and this guy's been playing since as long as you have, well, he's from the school of hard knocks, man.
Yeah.
You can kind of pretty much bank the stuff he's telling you is, you can take it to heart. You may not have to agree with it, but lodge it in the back of your mind. And, lesson learned kind of thing. Definitely lesson learned. And, it's the other thing I would do if I, knowing now what I know now and I didn't know then, where I would try to go if I was in my early 20s again, I would just pack up like my Strat and Telecaster and maybe my Fender Precision bass, and I would move to Nashville.
Nashville, really?
Yeah, I wouldn't even waste my time. I wouldn't even waste my time in L.A.
Really?
I might go to New York, but Nashville is like, we always call it the third coast.
Yeah.
Because the East Coast, West Coast, and then Nashville. You'll find it's not just a country mecca.
True.
Any genre is there, and it's the best of the best. It is the best. They don't mess around there. If you don't cut the mustard, they will let you know you are never playing that club again.
Right.
It's the best of the best. It's real competitive.
Interesting.
And you'll find whatever you find there. You'll find country. You'll find rock. You'll find
Sure.
punk. You'll find everything there. And the whole area thrives on music.
Yeah.
Again, it's its own little
Music City, USA. Yeah.
It's its own little environment, or whatever you want to call it. It's such a different lifestyle. I would go there if I, but who's going to tell a 20-year-old, back in, 1979 or 1980, whenever the hell I was 20, I'm dating myself again. Go to Nashville.
Right.
It's
right.
like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
The big hair in the L.A. thing was then. You know what I mean?
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah.
You mentioned too. Now you're focusing more on music and less on the label. Is that you said that before we started the interview?
Yes. It's. I'm still doing the label.
Yeah.
We've cut back on bands just because, just lack of distribution and lack of cash flow.
Sure.
That type of thing.
Sure.
And we're waiting to see where things are going to go. So my outlet is playing my own music, which I had neglected for 10 years.
Yeah.
Maybe even 15 years. And I'm not getting any younger. So I want to play.
Yeah.
I want to play.
What's the most important thing to you in all this, in everything that you're doing? What's the most important thing? What drives you at this point with everything that you've been through and everything that you've learned?
The people that really mean something to me in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it's all about. Who's going to be there at the end?
Right.
Who's going to be there at the end? And then the next thing is music.
Yeah.
Music. Absolutely. Absolutely. And at this point, I mean, I'm so content. My days of touring are over. It really is. I'm so content being a local musician. I'm so content with that and having a great time with that and surrounding myself with other really good musicians, really good caliber musicians, and fun people to be with. Mm-hmm. And, I still have the recording studio here in town, and I'm still recording Storm with different bands. And if nothing more in my life happened more than that, then recording, playing locally, and wake up to see another day, and I can actually spend a night and two with my wife every once a month. That would be nice. And I would be content because I've done more than most people have in their lifetime in this music industry.
Absolutely.
So I'm pretty content with it, and
Very-
I'm not done with it yet. So who
Yeah,
knows?
yeah. No,
and things change. And tell this to everyone. You might have heard me say this before. Things change with a phone call. Mm-hmm. That's all it takes. One phone call. Mm-hmm. One phone call, or one trip to Milwaukee Metal Fest.
yeah.
You don't know.
Well
you
said.
Don't know. You
Yeah.
just don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Absolutely.
You know.
Where do we find you online, Tim?
www.screamingferret.com.
Okay.
Yep, that's the Screaming Ferret site. The Hillsbonius site, my particular personal music site is actually still on MySpace.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking the cheap way out with that, but what the hell?
That's all right.
Yeah, that's me. That's me. The label's digital download site is Groove Junction 1, the digit 1. Groove is in groovin', junction is in, crossroads.
Yeah.
Groove Junction, the digit 1.com. And you can find a fair amount of the label's downloads. But if you know the label's bands, you can go to any download site and pretty much pick it up. A lot of the stuff is still being distributed, although we don't have a quote unquote formal distributor. We're doing everything internally anymore.
Sure.
When Universal, slammed us, they kept our records. They're still distributing them. We don't even know who's getting the money, but I'm not bitter. And, that has happened.
Yeah, you've told me about some of that.
Four different distributors.
Yeah, some of the things you've told me about that
Four
are
different
mind-blowing.
distributors.
Yeah.
So the records are still out there. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure which ones. I'm not sure which ones have been discontinued or which ones are cutouts or not. But they're still out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Tim, thank you very much for coming to the Rage
Thank
Rock Radio
you for
studio
having
tonight.
me.
This has been very cool.
I hope I haven't, upset the balance.
No, it's always fun.
Rambling on and talking crap.
It's always fun to talk to you, man. And you have such a unique perspective because you've done so much. And you can.
One thing I want to tell any of the listeners, especially kids in bands, God, get rid of the negativity. Don't listen to me because I sound like one negative old man. Don't listen to me, man. Don't be negative. Just don't be negative. Just keep going.
Yeah,
because that's going to kill you. That is going to burn you up.
Well,
I'm living proof, man.
Well, you've
I'm
given
living
us
proof of that.
you've given us some cautionary tales. Not negativity, cautionary tales.
Yeah.
But you've also given us a lot of positive advice as well. So
Yeah.
so we appreciate that. Very cool to have you here.
Thank you.
And I want to hear. Usually I leave it up to the guest, but I have something that I want to hear that I'm particularly intrigued by. I
Yes.
want to hear this track from your. Is this your first band?
This
Nightmare?
is my first band.
Okay.
Called Nightmare with a K. Me, Al Mead, and Steve Piasny. Al Mead plays in Terabyte now down in Texas, which is another Screaming Ferret label band.
Oh, okay.
And this is a three-piece band. Back in the 80s, we were doing like the Motorhead kind of thing, but this song is different than that.
Yeah.
This song is called Never Be, and it's kind of another bass-driven kind of rock kind of song. I always felt it was a really cool song and never got the just it deserved because it was always wrapped up in all this metal kind of stuff, and we would play this, and the kids would be like, that song sucks. Oh, excuse me. Kids, why are you playing that? And I just always dug the song. And this was recorded in 1985. It's kind of demo quality, although back then that's about where we were at. It's recorded on a 4-track cassette deck.
Yeah.
But, it's been kind of mastered and stuff, so it doesn't sound that bad.
Cool. Okay.
But, this was the first band I was in and the first album. The album was called Mindless Mayhem.
All right.
And I can still get you a copy of the vinyl.
Really? No kidding.
It's
Wow.
released on vinyl.
Wow.
Vinyl. I mean, we did do releases. We did 45s and stuff before that and cassettes, but this is the first full-length vinyl album that we did.
All right. So this is a little piece of history here.
Yes, absolutely.
Very cool.
Absolutely.
Tim Koukos from Screaming Ferret Records and 17 bands. And thanks for
everything else. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here with us this week.
Yeah.
And we leave you with Nightmare. I'm sorry. We leave
Nightmare,
you with
Nightmare's the band.
Well, I meant
the name
to
of the
say
song
that.
is Never Be.
We leave you with Never Be from Nightmare on the Planet's Local Outbreak from the RageRockRadio.com studios. We'll see you next week on 100.1 The Planet.
such hot shit. I'm gonna cut you down forever. Well, look in the mirror and see what I see. A plastic image of your character. Well, maybe it's some time to wonder. Maybe some time to see. Maybe some time to ponder. Maybe you just will never be, no. Time to